So I'm back with the predictions. UFC 257, Poirier McGregor. Uh, I I was just looking at it, you know, thinking of their first fight back with the Holloway and Cater. I was assuming that the time was going to be around the same, and then I looked at UFC.com. Obviously, they got prelims starting at 7, main card starting at 9. So I mean, it's a McGregor fight. They want as many pay-per-view buys as possible, and their biggest demographics in their biggest countries in America. So yeah, particular particularly for for Connor it's gonna be in Ireland, but he's got pretty big fan base in America, well worldwide. Uh, anyway, I'm only gonna be giving predictions for the main card. Um, what is going on here? UFC.com is getting goofy on me. Anyway, start with Marina Rodriguez, Amanda Hebas. Looking at tape, I don't see how Hebas can lose this fight. Rodriguez seems to be more. I've like what I've seen of her highlights is more of her striking. Hebas obviously is known for the jiu-jitsu, but she's she's got dangerous striking. It's that case and it's that case in MMA. Jiu-jitsu players who don't have the best wrestling, they get real comfortable with the striking, and they'll just throw whatever because they don't care if they get taken down because they got jiu-jitsu. Um, she's a pressuring striker. Her uh and she just throws. She throws with bad intentions. She doesn't care if you take her down, like I said. Um, I think it goes the distance. I don't think Rodriguez goes. I don't think she goes for the takedown unless she gets real desperate. Then again, Hebus does go for takedowns, and that is something you'll probably see her get better with as she continues on fighting. So if she gets the takedown, this fight's gonna be stopped early. It's gonna be a finish if she gets a takedown, or if she gets the fight to the ground anyway. But if not, I could see it going. I could see it going the distance for Hebus. Uh, actually, did I say I was doing 4 fights? If if I did, that was a lie. I'm doing 3. I thought about doing I versus Joanne Calderwood, but my mind's been focused on the co-main and main event as far as this card goes. So Hooker Chandler, I've been thinking Chandler for a while now on this one, but as I look at it and as I think of their skill sets, because when I looked at the tape, I was looking through a different set of eyes, just watching the fights themselves, not really paying attention to the skills of both guys. And Hooker's a serious test for. I mean, I'm stating the obvious. Hooker's a serious test for Chandler in this for his UFC debut. If he just shoots without a setup, if Chandler shoots without setting up the shot, Hooker's got a knee with his name on it, with his chin on it, and on the feet, Hooker's the better striker. They're both conventional fighters, so the jab is going to be a big factor, particularly for Hooker. But for his namesake, for whatever reason, actually, I think I know the reason, but for his namesake, he does like throwing hooks. He'll close, he'll stand his ground and just swing with guys. His last fight was a prime example. But at the same time, Poirier is going to bring the fight to anybody he fights. That's also a part of what makes the main event so exciting. But uh yeah, so he could potentially close if his instincts take over and he stands his ground and he swings with Chandler, he could he can give Chandler the opening for for his shots, cuz Chandler, and I'm talking just punches, Chandler is, just because he's a wrestler doesn't mean that he's not dangerous on the feet. He's very dangerous on the feet. He has devastating power in that right hand, well, in both hands, and he's fast. He's very fast. So if Chandler's able to close the distance, he could be a problem for Hooker, especially if he comes in with like a similar game plan to Poirier, which I think Chandler's game plan is just going to be the better mixed martial artist. Pressure, set up takedowns with punches, and look to ground and pound. Look for ground and pound. His ground and pound is going to be dangerous. And when I think about if Chandler gets in a position where he can use ground and pound, I remember back to Hooker's last fight, the end of the last round with Poirier. Poirier had his wrist tied up, his back up against the fence, and he was feeding him left hands. He can't afford to eat any shot from Chandler. So as far as like possibilities for Chandler, Chandler could win by knockout. He can win by TKO. He can win. He can win the fight going the distance. This is a competitive. This is really a competitive fight for both guys. They lean towards Hooker because, or the betting odds lean towards Hooker. I see that, and Hooker has like a lot of spectacular finishes that Chandler does too. Even though the competition's probably not the same, I see it as a competitive fight. If I'm picking somebody, I have to remember that Hooker, he can adapt. He's 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 got a good ability to adapt to the situation. This might be fight of the night. Right now I'm going to say this fight goes the distance, fight of the night. Dang. And if I'm going to say that, I'm going to stick with my guns. I'm going to stick with Chandler. Hooker could win it, Chandler could win it. But I think it's probably going to be the most exciting, like, out of any fight. If this is the only fight that goes the distance, it's going to be one of the best fight. It's going to probably be fight of the night. If there are other fights that goes the distance, this is going to be one of the, this is still going to be in contention for fight of the night, in my opinion, what I think. Now, main event, Poirier, Mcgregor. We know they fought 6 years ago. Mcgregor bodied him in 90 seconds. Poirier moved up. They both moved up in weight. Poirier moved up in weight, had tremendous success as a lightweight. He got to the belt, got his chance to grab the belt 2 years ago. Well, going on 2 years ago, and has shown why he's like number two in the division. He showed that last year, against Hooker. He's like guys like Hooker. I mean Poirier, uh, Gaethje, Oliveira, McGregor. Then Habib above them, and then below them is like everyone else. I hate leaving Tony out of there, but you know that's just what I'm doing right now. Anyway, it's just Poirier is down to fight, and you 100% he's going to give McGregor everything he has. But the way that he fights, his his main defense is blocking, shelling up, blocking, using Philly shell a little bit here and there. Not much with the head movement, and it's kind of hard to do that when you're switching your feet, switching stances while you're throwing punches, while you're throwing offense. You're committed to offense that way. And if McGregor is able to control space, which he generally does because he's always the ring general, like in every fight. Until he gets tired, he's the ring general. So, and then there's other things that we don't know about Conor in that he's going to bring to this fight. He's developed an inside game. Probably, he's I would say so. I think he's sharper. I think he's more skilled now than he's ever been. Which everyone's saying that, and it's easy for me to pick Conor, but when you look at the skill set, I think if it goes later round, I think if makes it past 2 rounds, Poirier's gonna have Conor in trouble. But I'm gonna say Conor wins this, not knockout in the first or second round. I mean, that's the only way I could see this fight. That's the only way I see it. If it goes any other way, that would be exciting. But we'll see. That's my predictions for the fight card. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Oh yeah, and Max Holloway looked like absolutely phenomenal on last Saturday. I wanted to make a video about that. I didn't make the time to, but yeah, that was a phenomenal performance. And until next time, we'll see you.